Africa and its diaspora from around the world. I'm Charles Nyagolu. The Seedis of India are scattered over many parts of the Indian subcontinent. They're thought to be descendants of African sailors, merchants, slaves and cavalry guards who arrived in India through the sea trade with East Africa and the Gulf between the 12th and 19th centuries. Today there are tens of thousands of African Seedis who have become lost among the mosaic of cultures and communities in India. Many are concentrated around the western Indian state of Gujarat and are struggling at the margins of society. I'm joined now in the studio by Jay Lakhani, education spokesman for the Hindu Council here in the UK. Mr. Lakhani, thanks so much indeed for joining us. And of course, you are from the state of Gujarat, indeed, which gives you first-hand experience of the Seedis. Give us some background of what is known about their origins.
Okay. We think, let me first of all say, many people from various different parts of the world have settled in India and have been allowed to exist peacefully within the Indian subcontinent for a very long time. The Seedis have apparently arrived, as you said quite correctly, about since the 12th century till about 19th century. Most of them, we suspect, were brought in as slaves by the Arab slave traders. They were sold to Indian princes. Sometimes they were sold to the British colonials. Many arrived as servants, some arrived as sailors, some arrived as soldiers. They're very good fighters. Now, since the time they arrived in the Indian subcontinent, the idea of slavery is not acceptable. And whenever they got released from whatever service they were kind of involved in, they found them, they decided to disappear into the forest and set up their own communities. They exist in different parts of India. Quite a lot of them live in Gujarat, where I come from. There is one particular village that is populated by the Seedis, they're called Seedis, in Gujarat near the Gir forest. Now the people are allowed to exist, if you like, on the periphery of the Indian community, Indian society, not because they are considered to be outcast, but the Indians have a habit, the Hindus have a habit of allowing people to live in dignity as they wish to live. For example, we had the most ancient Jews coming and staying with us, the ancient Parsis, the Zoroastrians coming and staying with us, the ancient Christian cults.
Yeah, talking particularly about the Seedis, I mean, because you did mention there that they're allowed to live, if you like, on the fringes of society.
Yes.
What I'm curious about is, how do they fit into the restrictive caste system that we know characterizes India? Where do they fit in?
Yes, there is this misconception that the idea of hereditary caste is somehow a Hindu idea. In fact, it is an atrocity committed in the name of religion. It is not religion. Every Hindu you would ask will tell you hereditary caste, whereby you are told that you are upper or lower in the rungs of society, is unacceptable by the religion of that nation. But somehow mankind has got a habit of stratifying society. And there is this curious idea that somehow if you are darker colored, you are of a lower caste. Let me just kind of remove this misconception immediately. If you went to South India, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, you will find the most orthodox Brahmins who are jet black. So the idea that because you've got a black color, somehow you are outcast or lower caste is utter nonsense. There is no such thing. The only thing I can say is this. The Hindus do not wish to interfere in the way they wish to live. This is what I've discovered. They are allowed, they live in their own little groups. It is not because the Hindu community does not wish to integrate them within their own community, within their own society. They wish to kind of, if you like, live on the periphery themselves, just as you would find the gypsies in the European continent.
They prefer to live on their own. Now, in spite of their difficulties, they've apparently made great spiritual and artistic contributions to India, haven't they? They've got affiliations with the Hindus, and they've got these intoxicating Sufi rhythms. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes. You see, the African, the people who came from Africa came with special inheritance, if you like, their asset. Music and dance, rhythm is, if you like, in the genes, in the blood. And somehow, most of the Seedis living in India are Muslims. But the mainstream Muslims do not really promote the idea of singing and dancing in the name of religion or spirituality. So most of these Seedis decided to adopt the Sufi style, because Sufis encourage singing and dancing. Some Sufis, not all, they encourage the idea of singing and dancing in the name of spirituality. So the Seedis find a natural home with this idea. So almost majority, I would say almost all the Seedis living in India are Muslims, and mostly, again, they form their own cult within the Islam faith.
So might they consider returning to Africa, or are their African roots irretrievably lost?
In fact, I just talked to somebody who knows some of these communities in India this morning, just to kind of get some background. That he told me they are extremely happy to live where they are. They are not being disturbed. They are allowed to exist as they wish. If they wish to participate in greater activities, like, for example, participate in the government, they are allowed, they are accepted. The way any nation can be judged is the way it deals with its minorities, and the Hindus have treated them well.
Okay, Jay Lakhani from the Hindu Council in the UK, thanks so much indeed for joining us.
Pleasure.